Hello, my dear Astro family. So I thought I wanted to make a video about the Uranus going retrograde period. And actually, the intention of this video is to teach you about a little bit of how to see the deeper layer of a transit. And you can use this in your timing practices as well, but also you can apply this technique to your natal chart also. So I hope you will enjoy it. This is a little bit more educational. So what I'm planning to do is I'm kind of going to give you ideas about this Uranus retrograde. I did not really dive into it as deep, whether I kind of have got a feeling that, for instance, the bank system is going to crash and all these type of things. I'm just going to try to teach you to think about how this retrograde period should be read. But some of my ideas, I think it's going to be very prominent in the next few months. So, but before I do that, I just want to announce that I do have a 30% discount on all my readings till 5th of September. And also, I do have a 40% discount on all my courses and webinars. So if you are interested, you want to learn astrology, then maybe you want to stock up at the moment because, it's a lot cheaper, and definitely with Uranus retrograde, sometimes you're going to have to revisit our financial situations. Now, Uranus going retrograde, and it's going to be happening on 18 degree of Taurus. Any type of retrograde is all about revisiting something. It wants us to reconnect with a part of ourselves which is a little bit different in a sense because it's unique or a unique skill set or just a unique approach to life, depending on what house it falls into, of course. Uranus is all about being free. So cutting ties with some old system, for instance, and going towards the future. But also it is about making some innovation in your life or making a progress or re-examining the progression we have made so far. Maybe it's actually about looking at things from a different perspective also. And maybe it's connected to your value system. Maybe it's connected to your financials. How much money I spend, how much money I keep in the bank. Shall I keep the money in the bank? Shall I not keep it? And all these type of questions can be coming up for us. Uranus tends to be quite rebellious. It's kind of shaking the core of a matter because it wants you to open up towards horizon. It wants you to actually kind of climb the ladder towards the sky and reach as far as possible. But when it's retrograde, it is really telling you that, you know what, maybe I have to go back a couple of steps. I have to review something before actually we go further. And that could be actually important. Remember that Uranus is still hanging around the North Node. So it is a karmic journey. And it can be sometimes a little bit scary. Now, what the juicy part of this video is that you always must look at the dispositor of a planet whichever turns retrograde. Or it's not just with the retrograde planets, but with any kind of planet which are not in rulership. So obviously we're going to have to look at what is Venus doing in this chart. And on the same day when Uranus goes retrograde, actually Venus is in trine to Chiron. So it's very much about going down on a healing journey because we cannot progress further if there are still uncertainty within us. Chiron is a centaur. Chiron is a teacher archetype. Chiron is someone who is able to heal others, but unable to heal himself. However, he has got this unique talent of putting people on the right road, and obviously it is helping him to improve as well at the same time. So you should remember that at the moment of Uranus turning retrograde, Venus will be in the sign of Leo. So somehow, when you are looking at your natal chart, what you want to do is, especially till about 5th of September, by the way, that you want to be combining your Leo house as well as your Taurus house. So what is Taurus? Taurus is about spending money. Leo wants to enjoy life. So till the 5th of September, we might be reminded, let's just have a look at our expenditure. Can I live like a king? The prices might be going up still. Or Taurus can be very concerned with money, like how much money I've got in the bank. But Leo wants to live life to the fullest. And this might be the topic till Venus changes sign. Leo is about entertainment, theaters, cinema, self-expression. So if I start putting the keywords together, theater and money, maybe the tickets of the theater or the cinema tickets are going to be rising or increasing significantly. Leo rules, for instance, celebrities. So maybe what's going to be a hot topic in the next couple of weeks, how much money celebrities are earning, or they might not get paid for something, or how much tax they should be paying, and so forth. So Leo is kind of like the top 1% of the notch people, if you like it, and this could become quite a hot topic. But also Leo rules over such things like education system. Especially, typically, it talks about the high schools and the secondary school related matters. So this might be about, I don't know, it's beginning of September, and how much the school tools like pencils and all these type of things have increased. And maybe it's going to be a huge topic that, can I afford it? Can I not afford it? And so forth. So that's also a possibility here. Or it could talk about, because Leo is something to do with children, and Taurus is about values. So probably what becomes a hot topic is something to do with birth control, adoption, or whether we should, well, let's call it just birth control, okay? Birth control and adoption can be quite a big topic coming up in the next couple of weeks. Leo is really about authority figures. As I said, it's the top 1% of the population, really. So their financial situation can be quite exposed. Maybe with a Uranus, which is about hacking system, maybe someone is going to hack into someone's financials, or they're going to be asking them, okay, can you show me how much tax you paid, and all those type of things. Also, on a personal level, the positive keywords for Leo is that it's about childlike. So it's getting in touch with that childlike approach to life, but within kind of limits, if you like it. Or Leo is courageous. So why am I not courageous about something? Why am I not initiating something? Why am I not determined about something? But also, Venus sign, Taurus is about your likings, your comforts. Maybe it's going to talk about, maybe there's going to be a series about luxurious films, for instance, on Netflix. Just an idea, which is going to, maybe divide the opinions of others, because with Uranus, we can go to the extremes, surely. It's about kind of like, sometimes with Leo, we become theatrical. And Taurus is more, simplicity. So there is a little bit of a challenge there too. Taurus is definitely about self-worth. So why am I shy, for instance, to show a skill to others on a personal level? Or why am I not happy? So the happiness can be a huge question in the upcoming couple of weeks. But then after, what happens is that Venus is going to go into the sign of Virgo. And that's going to be definitely an interesting period of time. That's going to be happening between September 5th till September 29th, because that's a fall position of Venus. It's a detrimental position. Venus doesn't like spending time in the sign of Virgo. So what would happen here is, again, if we start putting the keywords together, as in Virgo and Taurus can, or both signs can represent nature. So nature might be a huge topic within the next 1.5 months, or anything to do with food matters. The food prices with Uranus can go up or can actually extremely go down. We can have food supply issues, or all of a sudden we've got way too many. If there was Jupiter involved, I would say that maybe we have got too much of something, but there is no Jupiter involved here. So probably I would not necessarily say that we're going to have way too much stock on certain items, but actually it's a possibility with Uranus also. What my gut feeling here is, because Virgo is a harvesting sign, it does talk about grains. So I kind of have got a feeling that we're going to have topics around harvesting grains, how to make bread. This could be a brilliant time actually in a personal level to revisit your skills of how to make bread, for instance, or how to make cakes, or something to do with the organic food, healthier lifestyle. But of course, Virgo is about medical matters as well. So on a psychological level, this could talk about how to heal your self-worth, how to feel better in your own skin, but also it could indicate that, for instance, the investments in medical field might be good opportunities, or people want to be investing into lands or animals or gardening tools and all those type of things. And of course, this can be, as I said, going to the extremes, and with Uranus, all of a sudden, these investments can actually drop too. Now, Virgo is one of the controlling signs. So the control of financials, I think, can be quite a huge topic around this period. Whether it's because we cannot afford doing something, or whether, maybe with Uranus, which is electricity, it might be a silly example, but or you can only use electricity, I don't know, between 4 p.m. till midnight, just an example. Hopefully, nothing like that will be happening. But most likely, the increase of electrical appliances, because Taurus rules tools, okay, it's your assets. The increase of the price increase of electrical supply appliances or electricity, or the increase of lands, or people wanting to invest into lands, that might be increasing significantly. But I'm really hoping, though, because of course Venus at one point will be trining Uranus, that this is a period of time when they try to sort out some financial chaotic moments. On a personal level, you know what, this is good to clear out, for instance, your storage. Clear out, looking at how many, I don't know, gardening tools I have. Do I need those? Can I actually make money out of that? But I'm expecting something to happen in the banking system around this period of time, surely, with a detrimental Venus position, with Uranus being retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So this might not be it might be a very favorable time to invest money into, these digital currencies. I'm really hoping that there is going to be some effort in regards to inflation in this period, but also maybe there is going to be attempts to normalize some of these currency swings, what is actually going on at the moment. Virgo does talk about employment also. So the employment in the banking field, or organizations, or food chains, there might be major topics around those. So something to do with the salaries of these people, how much money they should get, how much money they shouldn't get. Do they deserve more? Do they deserve less? But I also can imagine that there's going to be some negotiations happening. Even with the Uranus, it could be something to do with employees of restaurants are going to go on strike, for instance. That's also a possibility. Now, at the end of September, Venus actually going to move into the sign of Libra. Obviously, that's a very strong position for Libra. So again, we're going to combine the Libra and the Taurian energies with a little bit of a Uranian flavor, of course. So I can imagine situations where banks are going to start negotiations with other companies or food supply negotiations, for instance. Maybe, can you send me, I don't know, milk, and I'm going to give you tomatoes instead, and so forth. So that is kind of like starting in October, and it's going to be basically the whole month about food and bank-related matters, or it could talk about negotiation about land. Where does this land belong to? Is it mine? Is it yours? How much do you want to sell your land for? And all these type of things. Also, most probably, I think maybe this is going to be a period of time when maybe the real estate industry goes a slightly bit just down. But it could talk about the fairness of pay, the fairness of animals. It could talk about something to do with maybe someone is going to sue a bank for something, because Libra is about justice as well at the same time. So legal matters around banking is possibility. Now, what's interesting to me, that mid-November, Venus will be already in the sign of Scorpio, and it's going to be opposing Uranus. And that's the detriment position of Venus too. So I see this as a very chaotic period from investment point of view. I see that maybe someone is gonna hack into a bank system, or some online system will crash, or maybe virtual money might experience issues, or maybe again a little bit swindling around money possible, or money laundry topics are gonna be important. That's also a possibility. So, and then of course, we should not forget that this is also a period of time when Saturn and Uranus are actually almost squaring each other. They are just a few a few minutes away from each other. And of course, Saturn always says no to something. And we're going to have a T-square going on between those two. So that could be kind of like the highlight of the entire Uranus retrograde period. Let me just quickly bring that up. Sorry about that. Well, that's going to really kind of start taking place around 5th of November. And that is going to be around for a couple of weeks. So the first couple of weeks of November is actually very, very, very challenging. So the financial market can be at a little bit of a danger there. Saturn will be on 18 degree and Uranus will be on 17 degree. And of course, Venus is going to be on also on 17 degree as well. So that's peaking sometimes around 6th of November. So it'll be interesting to see what is happening in the financial world around that time. But again, we should remember that nothing lasts forever. And this might be a great investment opportunity for plenty, because some bits and bobs are going to be falling down. The reason why I also find very interesting this November period, because the ruler of Venus, which is Mars, is in the sign of Gemini, right? And it's already retrograde. And at the same time, the ruler of Mars, which is Mercury, is also in Scorpio. So there is kind of like a mutual reception. So something to do with the financial market is extremely, extremely emphasized here. Of course, this could talk about such things as, sexuality as well. And those topics could be also popping up again. Maybe let's say a celebrity is getting together with someone at the beginning of September, and then there is going to be some type of hot news coming up in November, a little bit of a scandal around it, and all those type of things. That's also very possible. So, as I said, and of course, we're gonna have December and January when Venus is kind of dancing around Sagittarius sign. So let's see how that plays out when it comes to travel matters. Obviously, Venus in not Gemini. Did I say Gemini? Sagittarius, I wanted to. Obviously, Venus in Sagittarius loves traveling. So, and still we have got the Saturn Uranus square in effect. So that could be, you know, a little bit of a challenging period of time from a travel and education point of view. But basically, my intention with this video was to kind of make you understand how we should be thinking about in your personal chart. Now, to give you an idea, so for instance, this Uranus retrograde happens in my third house. And obviously, which is something to do with communication, something to do with teaching, short distance travels, purchases. And because Venus falls into my sixth house, okay, so that is something to do with whether it's healthy purchase, for instance, if I put the keywords together or not, or it's about control, so controlling communications, you know, or it could talk about animals, right? Or it could talk about accidents and so forth. So you might want to be putting these keywords together and then giving a Uranian flavor to it so that you can understand how this Uranus retrograde affects you the most, okay? And then, of course, when it comes to, let's say, the Saturn-Uranus square, you might want to be okay. So Venus is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. That's my eighth house. Saturn will be in my 12th house. And Uranus will be in my third house. So somehow we're going to have to put together the third, eighth, and the 12th house to kind of come up with an idea of what you should be expecting from this Uranus retrograde period. If you want a little bit more further detail, because Uranus goes on retrograde on 18 degree of Taurus, we can actually break that down. Okay, what is happening with the dwarfs, which is Virgo decan, and within Virgo decan, that's going to be a Sagittarius territory. So also, when Venus goes into the sign of Sagittarius, that's when some of those restrictions around travel, for instance, could be emphasized. But it could be also about international matters as well, like the grains or the food is coming from a foreign country. Okay, so that's because I do see some positives around this Saturn-Uranus square. Let me tell you why. When we had all these Russia and Ukraine going on, for instance, you know, it happened around 24th of February, I think, when it started. And obviously, we were pretty much kind of like within the Saturn-Uranus square period. But then as soon as kind of like Saturn started walking away from Uranus, all of a sudden we bombarded, let's say, let's say Russia with some type of rules. Now, whether I don't want to go into whether it's the right or the wrong course of action, everyone can make their mind up about it. But what I'm thinking is that Saturn will be actually coming back to Uranus to have that really close, not exact, but really close square. Does that mean that they're going to review these? Does that mean that they're going to have some type of communication happening, especially when Venus goes into the sign of Libra, and maybe some type of, you know, communicational channels are opening up? So, you know, so I might see some positives around this Saturn-Uranus square as the last one out of the four series. And hopefully, you know, guys, Saturn will always say no to Uranus. So it says, no, you cannot be free. You cannot spend your money the way you want to. Okay. Or we're going to put 1% interest on, I don't know, credit card purchases. And Saturn says, no, we cannot do that. And all these type of things. And maybe when Venus moves into the sign of Libra, there is going to be some negotiations around these type of things. I'm sure some of you follow the news and, probably you can kind of implement this information into what is going on in the world right now. I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a helping hand of how you should be approaching your own chart. So to give you another example, let's suppose that Uranus retrograde is actually happening in your first house because you have got a Taurus rising sign. So Uranus wants you to obviously look at yourself. It wants you to be looking at your confidence level. But because Venus is going to be in the third house, for instance, to start, a fourth house to start with for you, maybe when we start putting the keywords together in the next 2 weeks, how does my family is kind of like trying to support me or not so much support me, if you like it? Okay. And then when Venus moves into the fifth house for you, Taurus rising sign, then, let me go on a holiday because you know what, I deserve it, for instance. Or can I go on a holiday because I don't have money? Right? But fifth house is also about children. Oh, I want to get pregnant, for instance. Oh, I don't want to get pregnant. And so forth. I want to start a new business. Is it too risky or is it not so risky? So this is how you can put that together. So for instance, a Taurus rising sign need to be careful with their relationship department, especially towards the end of the year when Venus will Venus will be in the sign of Scorpio, because then it's going to be triggering your first and seventh house. So guys, I hope this video helps you to understand how I work with this. And then if you are interested in a reading with me, then go on my website because it's still discounted till the 5th of September. Thank you, everyone, and see you soon. Bye-bye.